Now introducing The End of the Metal Detector, How to Improve Patron Safety and Throughput, presented by Peter Evans, Patriot One Technologies.
Quick question. How many people here have been to a live concert or a sports event? It's a joke. In the next 15 minutes, we're going to change your entire experience for those types of activities. I had the joy of going to a concert in Las Vegas in June. Garth Brooks, at a time when we all wanted to return back to normal, see each other, let's go forward again, and engage in a community activity. That day, on June 10th, it was about 110 degrees in Las Vegas, and the lineups were about 90 minutes to get into the Allegiant Stadium for this concert. I was kind of ticked, having paid about $400 or $500 for this, and when I got to the stadium, I actually found out that if you had anything more than just clutter in your pocket, you had to go to another line. And then when you finally got to the stadium, you were greeted with this 40-year-old technology called a walk-through metal detector that was high touch, high engagement, high divesting, and not really the experience I paid for when I put $400 on the table. This is the common experience that all of our patrons are having when they go to these kinds of events, right? We see this every single day, at almost all these sort of sports events. And it's no wonder the patrons are actually becoming very frustrated. And events like what happened at one of the NFL stadiums about 3 weeks ago, where folks crashed the gates and ran through the walk-through metal detectors, are occurring. This is not what we offer to our patrons when we talk about patron experience. It was fascinating to me listening to Tim Lewicki this morning talking about the stadium across the road in Climate Pledge. Over $1 billion spent to create one of the most technologically advanced environments in the world for our patrons, right? With all kinds of innovations around it, and yet we're relying on a 40-year-old piece of technology to protect the environment. Now, let's put that in context. 40 years ago, the world, communicated a lot of things, like a lot of times with fax machines, right? That's when the fax machines sort of became prevalent as a common form of communications, about the same time as the walk-through metal detector did. Now, if we were trying to hold this conference today with all these people using a fax machine, kind of wouldn't work. So why are you still relying on the similar sorts of technology that are not digitally innovated to provide the best patron experience? And the challenge you have is in society right now, what we're seeing is there's more and more social unrest. There's more and more expectations, and it's been exacerbated by COVID. We're seeing more shootings. We're seeing the rise in weapons and these kinds of things, and threat is on the rise. And you get this situation between kind of the security organizations and the marketing organizations and the sales organizations who are responsible for patron experience, where there's kind of this clash. We can either choose one or the other. Do we choose to have a better patron experience, lower security, and put the venue at risk and potentially patrons? Or do we actually increase security and create longer wait lines and people saying, I'm done, I've had enough? So we've got this juxtaposition that's going on, and that's been facilitated by the lack of digital innovation in this environment. So my hope here, by asking if you all are going to live events and things like that, is in 15 minutes from now, I'm going to change your experience. This is a technology that's a weapons detector, not a metal detector. And I can walk through with all sorts of devices, like a phone, like keys, like a wallet, like a microphone, if you happen to carry one to the sports event. You just walk through and it won't alert. And about 3,000 people can walk through one of those in an hour, and it'll only alert on weapons. So we're going to do a little bit of show and tell here. And we go over to the venue. We actually recorded these last night. We're going to do it live here, but because of the opera, we didn't really have time to get things set up. So we're going to go show a couple of videos. This is Climate Pledge Arena. That handsome dude is me. And you're going to see us. We had, at the Foo Fighters concert, about 8,000 people come through here in about the time it would take you to take 1,000 people through a walk-through metal detector. This is me. I've got 3 phones. I've got keys. I've got a wallet. No alert. Walk right through. Walking pace, just like you're walking down the street. Okay, I'm picking up a knife. As I'm picking up a knife, I'm going to walk on through here. Right? Alert. Very simple. This is not the kind of thing that you want in a venue, but I'm going to show you something in a moment that hopefully will scare you. So we go through this a little bit more. You'll see a whole array of things. I'm just randomly picking up more and more and more of these knives. And the idea here is threat comes in all sorts of forms. If you look at the NBA, their most valuable assets are the $20 million players who are within inches of the patrons. And so they've got probably some of the most stringent rules around for any of these venues, and they require that you have to catch these kinds of weapons and these kinds of devices. Okay? So we'll get the smaller and smaller knives you'll see here. This, I think, is a little Leatherman, right? We certainly don't want something like this, and we certainly don't want the Bowie knives. The magic of a solution like this is I can actually get very small knives if we turn it all the way down. So you have a choice as a venue operator. This will finish in just a moment. I'm going to show you one more for fun. This is a little key that I have that actually goes through the TSA, but is still a prohibited item. So we're going to move on to another video here. After we set up the traditional, after the stadium set up the traditional demonstration, the traditional walkthroughs, let's see if we can get this video to play. That's the Allied Universal Security folks who had just set up the walkthrough metal detectors. Okay? Not something that we want in our venues. So this is kind of the world we live in. I love the look on the face of that guy there who's watching me, say, hey guy, this is what you just set this system up to detect. Right? That is at the standard NBA level for security. Okay? So where are we going from here? The difference between digital innovation versus older technology is such that we can get patrons in about 7 times faster. They just walk right in at walking speed. No stopping, no divesting, no contact in a COVID world. 95% of people are just going to walk right in. If you have a gun or a knife, we're going to stop you. Much better patron experience. Where the future of this is going is now starting to think about ticketing, COVID vaccine verification, on all these sorts of things integrated in a technology like this where you can actually just walk right in and be checked. A, B, C, keep going. Now, the benefit also of digital innovation around these kinds of technologies is not the patron experience on entry, but we can actually start to engage. 100 miles away when they're first buying their ticket to verify who they are they the right person, the correct identity, these sorts of things, valid credentials. 100 feet away, using AI on video technology to recognize individuals, perhaps steer them and get better security operations or better patron experience by highlighting different individuals to go into different directions, right? And actually within the venue, looking for things like crowd disturbance and fights and these sorts of things, and optimizing things like overall stadium operations, merchandising, and these sorts of things. It's the same sort of digital innovation that has been used to change the way that e-commerce is done. And we all buy online from Amazon. The way we do online banking, the way we do online education, and the way we could hold this conference virtually via Zoom if we want. Security is the last industry that's actually digitally innovated, and we're here to change this and actually improve the patron experience for every single one of our customers. That's what we do. Our view is it's time to unleash the fans and stop creating this environment that is not very compelling to the kinds of things we've done when we invest in environments like Climate Pledge Arena. Thank you very much.